Tell me once again, who's fat?
Now welcome to our Raw portion of the show this week. And so this week they did a 3-hour special on Raw. The main theme of this Raw was the return of Vince McMahon for the job evaluation of John Laurinaitis. And for the most part, it was a pretty good show. Some of the highlights, I think, was, of course, the Vince McMahon storyline and how he approached John Laurinaitis, and just kind of how the whole intro went with John Laurinaitis trying to extend his hand, and Vince was like, I don't even know where that hand's been, and just the whole play between John Laurinaitis and Vince McMahon.
It was kind of funny because they treated Vince like a guest star instead of like actually the owner or whatever. And so since Vince was there, he did a lot of skits. Like he had a little skit with Hornswoggle, and he had a little skit with R-Truth, but
with the Funkasaurus girls.
Yeah, the Funkasaurus.
The Funkadactyls.
And then he had Natalia and just different. Otunga tried to come up to him and suck up and try to get his John Laurinaitis' job, and Vince just turns him down cold. And he just had like little funny bits here and there all throughout the show, and it was really good. It was fun seeing him take those little skits and run with them. You know, it shows that he really cares about the product that he's trying to put out.
Well, one thing is Vince hasn't been on the show for so long that he hasn't really gotten a chance to interact with a lot of the new wrestlers. So this was kind of his opportunity to interact with the new characters and things that he's brought on the show in the last year. So it was fun to watch. One of the other big storylines of the night was the CM Punk triple threat match with Daniel Bryan and Kane. One of the things we really like about this storyline is the whole AJ involvement in it, because I remember we were talking about it when AJ was going around with CM Punk, and the first time we seen like AJ, smile at Kane, me and my brother thought, it'd be kind of cool to see a storyline with Kane where instead of Kane stalking the girl, it's the girl stalking Kane, and that's kind of what the storyline's become. Even though she's still interested in CM Punk, and she's still got feelings for Daniel Bryan, it's just kind of funny to see Kane now being the one stalked by the girl instead of the girl being stalked by Kane. We also like the match itself with AJ at the end. AJ and CM Punk teamed up to fight Daniel Bryan and Kane. There was a big kissing scene at the end where AJ just hopped around Kane, skipping, hopping, and then she jumps up in Kane's arm, gives him a big kiss, and Kane's like, I don't know what to do, and he ran away, and it was like really hilarious to us. And that was one of my favorite spots of the show. Was just, I always like CM Punk. He's one of my favorite wrestlers, so it was fun to see that whole skit with them.
Yeah, and pretty much it was a real good tag match too. CM Punk lasted in there for a while by himself before he accidentally tagged AJU. And they were kind of just beating him up, and then he comes out and gets the win at the end because of the help of AJ, which was kind of cool.
Another one that we kind of wanted to point out is another storyline was the first of all, I guess what happened is Alberto Del Rio got a concussion and won't be at tonight's No Way Out show, which we will review next week. But tonight, though, or on Monday, they had a Fatal 4-Way, which was an elimination Fatal 4-Way, which you hardly ever get to see, like an elimination version of that. And the match turned out to be pretty good. Christian, who actually appeared at Slammiversary in just a small segment to introduce TNA's like #1 moment of all time, he actually showed.
You want me to tell the moment?
Huh?
The moment, the #1 moment of TNA in Slammiversary was Sting came out to save Christian at one point against Angle and a partner or something like that.
It wasn't Angle, it was Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, Jeff Jarrett and a partner, which I'm not for sure who it was because I didn't show him real well. And basically that was their #1 TNA moment because they were inducting Sting. And seeing Christian back on Raw again, and since he's the IC champ, the Intercontinental champ too, it was cool that he paid homage for the time that he was over in TNA too, and then goes back to WWE.
Yeah, it was interesting. So that match, Dolph Ziggler ended up winning though, and then they had But the big story of the night though, with the championship, besides Dolph Ziggler now being the new #1 contender, was Sheamus had upset John Laurinaitis at the beginning of the show. And so John Laurinaitis went to go pick an opponent for him, and the opponent they picked was Lord Tensai, which we're actually pretty big fans of. A lot of people, which I'm sure most wrestling fans will recognize Lord Tensai as being Prince Albert from back in the past. Prince Albert, he was an alright wrestler, but he never really got, to be as destructive as he is now. And we really, support the new Lord Tensai gimmick. So we kind of were. So I was actually hoping what would happen in that match is that Lord Tensai would win, and then he would be the #1 contender. So that tonight at No Way Out, they would end up fighting.
Especially since it was a non-title match.
Yeah, especially since it was a non-title match. I mean, we expect Sheamus to win and keep the title. We weren't expecting Lord Tensai to actually get the championship, but it would have been nice to see him as the #1 contender. Go ahead.
And it was a little disappointing at the end when Tensai got mad and beat up his manager after he lost. I mean, that was kind of. I mean, they even had to have referees run in there and try to break him up and stuff, and that was a little disappointing for us because we wanted him to keep being this awesome character for a while longer, and he's kind of been brought down a peg now already, and I feel that it's a little bit too soon.
Yeah, we were hoping that his streak of winning would go a little longer, but the two people he's lost to right now are just two, like either John Cena and Sheamus, who are like world champions. I mean, John Cena, not at the moment, but he's a former world champion, and of course Sheamus is the current world champion. So I mean, it's in that light you can kind of go, well, okay, so he's losing to big names, but we don't want him to just go on a losing streak and start losing to everybody. So we're hoping, good things for Lord Tensai. Anything else about Raw that we should cover?
Oh, there was a good a return match, I guess you could say, from one of the legends of WWE when Heath Slater took on Big Van Vader. And that was a real good match, seeing Vader come back and get the win against Heath Slater. I thought that was pretty neat. And I'm sure a lot of fans enjoyed seeing Vader make his return.
I enjoyed seeing Vader make his return, but since they're now going to have a former Raw main eventer, coming up each show, it'd be kind of nice. What I would like to see out of this whole thing is that on the 1000th episode of Monday Night Raw, by then Alberto Del Rio, of course, fully recovers from his concussion, and he's forced to go up against a former Raw main eventer. So, of course, the whole night he's bragging how he's going to defeat the former Raw main eventer. And it turns out to be The Undertaker. And that would be really cool because I want to see Undertaker take on someone different besides Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I mean, don't get me wrong, those were great matches, but I do really want to see him take on some new people, at least before he retires officially. I mean, I don't know if he's officially retired yet or not, but if he could just come back and face like Alberto Del Rio and then like a couple other ones, that would be really cool to see before he officially gives up the ring altogether.
Yeah, that would be kind of neat. And I just want to point out, for the last 3 or 4 WrestleManias, he's been fighting DX.
Yeah, so someone else besides DX, Undertaker, just someone else, please.
Overall, I think it was.
You want to give Raw about 4.
Yeah, I go 4.
4 you're fired out of 5.
Yeah.
That's what we think of Raw. Now on to our next segment.